I think we're live, Linz. Let's go with it.
Woot. Maybe.
Hold on. Turn that up. There we go. We'll go to that one for now.
Hi, guys.
You're too pretty not to show your face. How are you?
I am present.
Present and accounted for.
Present and accounted for.
You know, I can't get my sound right. Hold on. I got my damn hearing aids in and it's killing me. Yes, I have hearing aids now.
You're old.
This freaking old just sucks, man. It just sucks. But they do make a difference. I'm not going to lie. So, yeah. So that's me. How's your week been?
I'm glad it's Wednesday.
Is it Wednesday? I lose track.
It is Wednesday. I've had a week.
Yeah, we were talking about it off air, and I'm sure you don't want to go into the details, but I'd like to say this too shall pass, but in your case, who knows, right?
Well, there's also been a bit of problems. We've been having problems with TRICARE. What's
that, medical?
That's the government military medical stuff. We can't get referrals. I'll send you the
you'll have to say, yeah. So like referrals to like specialists or something?
Yes, my son has autism and we can't get referrals for him to see. They switched companies. TRICARE recently switched providers, I guess, and Curtis sent me the link going, you know, have you heard about this? And I said, yes, we're having problems with that right now. His PCSM, that's his primary care manager, is still covered, but specialists, psychologists, and whatnot are not. So anyone who says they want the government to take over healthcare, no, you don't.
Don't get me started on that. Okay, I've been fighting Obamacare for 15 years. It's the worst thing they ever did. I don't want to go. This is not the appropriate forum for it, but I have a client who works for one of the biggest insurance companies in the United States. So I have inside knowledge through her of some things. If you think it's bad now, it's only going to get worse. It is a effing disaster on every level. And it was funny because I was talking with her Monday. And you probably are old enough to remember back, you know, before Obamacare, it used to be most insurances were through your employer, right? And it was 80-20 with $1,000 deductible. That was it. That was the plan everybody had, pretty much. I mean, there were some exceptions. My plan now, because I'm on the Obamacare, because I'm a business owner, has a $9,800 deductible. I pay over $1,000 a month for it, and it doesn't cover a goddamn thing. Like, for example, my hearing aids, which cost $5,000. Didn't cover a dime of them.
To quote Bert Gummer from Trimmers 3, the government does what it does best. It finds something simple and complicates it.
And makes it a effing disaster.
Exactly.
But anyway,
moving on to the actual show.
So I saw a couple people over on YouTube are talking about our soon-to-be future producer, the man, the myth, the legend,
Curtis, who volunteered.
Apparently he's also an a-hole.
Well, yes, but
he's not really. But
no, not really.
Set up in the very near future because I volunteered him, kind of like in the Army.
That's voluntold.
Voluntold, of course. But stay tuned for that. Hopefully next week he'll start taking that over, and then he can have some of the fun with us. But I want to get into something important real quick. We're just going to do I'm going to call it the A block, the first part of the show. There's my media thing. And talk about something that I put a call to action out on earlier today because it is critical that you email today. So there is a bill, and I'm going to look off to the side because I need to look at it. But if, Lindsay, can you throw that up, add it to the stage so people can see it? I don't know if you can. No, not that one. Hide that. There. All right, let me hold on TikTok. I got to fix my thing there. Yes, I know TikTok. See, TikTok is a pain in the ass and won't let me turn my camera off. So you're going to have to just kind of bear with me. All right, so this is bill number HB 25. All right, then. HB 25 here. We can go to that. Maybe it's a little bit better. HB 25-1312 in Colorado, and it is in committee right now in their Senate. And basically, what this bill is, and the reason we want to oppose it, it has to do with misgendering, that whole thing, and that's you may oppose it for that reason, but that's not the reason why I oppose it. And basically, if the law gets passed, is that a parent will be determined to be abusive for misgendering their child, and it will become a factor in allocating parenting time, meaning custody, right? So basically, they're going to turn this into yet another weapon because you know who it's going to go against, right? We all know who it's going to be targeted towards. It's going to be going against fathers. It's going to be weaponized. And so it passed the House in Colorado, I believe, 10 or 12 days ago, a couple weeks ago. And now it is in front of the Senate. It is in committee, and we need to stop this thing. So what we are doing is we've put out a call. If you follow me on any of my channels, men need to be heard, other than TikTok, because if I put it up on TikTok, they're going to take it down. We know that, so I don't bother with TikTok. But I have it up on my Insta, on my YouTube, on my Facebook. It's on the Boy Meets Squirrel Facebook. I'm asking everybody to go, and the email's right there. You can kind of see it on screen, what to send, and the list is there. So I know on TikTok, you're not seeing the whole thing. It's just the way the things are laid out. But if you can go and do that, you could make a difference in stopping this bill. We're hoping to get 5,000 people to jump in and send their word, send their voice, speak their minds, all that stuff. So let me shut that down. Let me go to there. So we're back, Linz. Where'd your glasses go? There we go. So
to clean them off.
So anyway, yeah, it's really critical that we stop this bill, and I will put it in the show notes later on. This thing's dangerous because I don't care what you think about the misgendering thing. This is going to be weaponized in family court because all that mom's got to do then is say, well, dad's misgendering the kid. What? Oh my God. Boom. There goes your custody. There goes your visitation. Just like that. And you may say, well, I don't live in Colorado. Why do I care? I live in North Carolina or Texas or Iowa or East Bejesus. Who cares? If you don't think if it passes in Colorado, it won't come to your state. I got some news for you because it's already law in California.
Well, I mean, it already happened here in Texas adjacent with James Younger. That's where the bill is based off of.
Yep.
And it doesn't really matter if the child is or isn't transgender. It matters that the mother will claim that they are.
That's it.
Simply to try and control the father.
Yep.
And there are several other bills, similar bills in other states. So Colorado is the most visible right now, and theirs is the closest to passing. But you're naive if you think that there aren't other bills in other states that say the exact same thing.
Yeah, this is based off, for those that may not know, off the Jeff Younger thing, where his ex-wife claimed their child wanted to change their genders. Texas was involved. Texas basically stopped it, but then the mother moved to California, and California is allowing it. And I'm, taking what is a huge thing and microcosming it down to a couple sentences, but they're looking to make this law in Colorado, where and it goes both ways. By the way, it could be the death misgendering, so it's not good for women either, right? It's going to be a weapon either way, but we all know, honestly, it's probably going to be targeted more at fathers, right? Mm-hmm. So basically, if they have a child, the child's not sure, confused, I don't know what term to use because you get canceled for anything you say these days, but not that I give a shit. But the child is a child, basically, right? They sometimes they don't know. I have two very close friends who are gay, and they've talked to me about when they were 8, 9, 10, 12. They didn't know. They didn't even know what to call it, right?
Because they're children.
They're children, exactly.
This is my only position on this subject. If you're too old to consent to sex, you're too young to change it. That's my general rule.
Well, it's funny because in my letter to the legislature in Colorado, that's something I pointed out. Specifically, I said, if you've passed laws in Colorado, most states, that says you have to be at least 21 to drink. And you have to be at least 18 to have to get a tattoo, unless some states allow with parental consent. So you're saying an 18-year-old doesn't have the wherewithal, the maturity, whatever word you want to use, to drink, and a 16-year-old doesn't have the maturity to choose to get a tattoo because it's permanent, but you're going to allow an 8-year-old to make a decision, right? And then enable it to be used in court. And there's some other subtext behind this, which is, they're making this claim behind it that parental alienation's not real, it doesn't exist, because that's a lot of the opposition to the bill is saying parental alienation is going to come into play. And so there's that whole subtext behind it. This is a nasty bill. And, even if you want to give the legislature the benefit of the doubt that they're trying to do the right thing, which I don't, but let's just for the sake of argument say that they are, they're not doing it the right way again. They're putting out, they don't want the judges to have discretion on this. They say all the time, we don't want to tie judges' hands, but yet they're going to do exactly that. They're going to say you can't take into account a claim of parental alienation in this case, which is ridiculous.
In this particular instance, I've seen it used more. The more and more research I do into it, this particular issue, the more and more I see Mouchisms by proxy, and I just think of Gypsy Rose.
Oh, yeah.
Because a lot of the parents that are doing this to their kids have fictitious disorder, and it's basically Mouchisms by proxy, and this is just what they've latched onto now. And then the dads who want to protect their children can't, just like Gypsy Rose Blanchard's father could not protect her. He tried, and the court stopped him because the mother had all these, had her, Dee Dee had her on all of these different medications, and he was about the only one who questioned it. And the state said, no, you have no say because the mother has her on all of these medications, and you're trying to hurt your child. And then look what happened. That's a perfect example. And that was then, and now this is happening now. So it's going to be used horribly. It might be used correctly once or twice, but we all know that the chances of this being used correctly the majority of the time is slim to none. This is a perfect example of the road to hell.
Well, I mean, let's think about this. Again, I'm trying to stay away from the politics of it as far as in terms of the, whatever you think on transgenderism. All right. I don't want to, because that just muddles the conversation. Think whatever you want. I have my opinion. Lindsay has hers. I know we're in agreement, but it's like, it's not part of the conversation here. It really isn't. We need to step back from that and look at this from the perspective of how it's going to affect parents, and both mother and father, by the way, right? Because as I said, this can go both ways. I'm actually shocked women's groups aren't opposing this, and some may be, I don't know, but I haven't heard of any. Because let me tell you, fathers could weaponize this every bit as much. Absolutely, they could. And I'm not saying they should. In fact, I would say the exact opposite. I would hold them every bit of as much to blame as a mother that did that. But, it's setting a dangerous precedent here where
one parent can unilaterally decide to do something to the child. And this may be the line they're drawing the stand now, but who's to say it's a slippery slope? Who's to say that the parent can't say or claim religious exemption and wed their underage child to an adult?
That's a great one. But it's not even the parents though, Lindsay, because within the law, they're saying things like school staff members. So teachers, administrators can, without the other parent's knowledge or consent, affirm a child's gender identity. whatever that means, right?
So basically, they're removing parents completely because they can now abuse a child, they can groom a child, and if a parent
Yes.
if a parent tries to be a parent and protect their child, they're now kicked out.
And that's the reason I oppose it more than anything else, right? Is yes, the family law side of it is horrible, but are we really basically saying that the teachers unions and the government are going to decide for us how to parent our kids? Because that's what this bill is, right? What if both parents say, no, we don't want to do that? A teacher can do it. All right. Well, now the teachers oppose, the parents or teachers in favor of doing it. The parents oppose. CPS now gets involved. I've read the language on the bill. There ain't nothing in there about that scenario. Because now the teacher, who are mandated reporters, I might add, in I believe every state, now the teacher has to go and say, well, they're abusing the child because they're not affirming their identity. What? Wait a minute.
My 8-year-old routinely thinks he's a cat.
I mean, that's insane to me that we've even gotten to the point where we're having this discussion, right? It's taking away parental rights, but it's not just man versus woman, father versus mother. This is government versus parents. People don't see that. Again, they get so wrapped up in the political part of it. That's why I took that out of the conversation, right?
They're wrapped up in the optics.
They are.
They
really
see that
are.
word. They see that word, and that's the only word they focus on. They don't realize the farther-reaching, because the word, the transgender word that they're using is basically a shield to shield the bill from censure and questions. And unfortunately, it's succeeding because everyone is so afraid to not come across as, transphobic, that they're willing to bend over backwards, and they haven't read the damn thing. They don't know what it's doing. They don't understand the implications of what it is. And if you point it out, well, that's not what it says. Have you read it? Well, and 9 times out of 10, when you ask, have they read it?
Right.
They haven't.
More like 999 times out of 1,000, they haven't.
Or they've done a 10-second search and they read what someone else has interpreted, and this is what it means.
Or they go to ChatGPT and put in a request, but it's so favorable towards the bill that it's going to spew out. That's the problem, guys, with AI, because I did that with this bill. I asked it in 2 different ways. Give me the, if I'm on this side, give me the thoughts, and if I'm on that side. They gave me a whole litany of reasons why this bill's just awesome. And then on the other side, it told me why it was terrible, and that's why you can't trust AI either. But one of the things and I put this in my letter, which, by the way, if you go to my Men Need to Be Heard Facebook and my community in YouTube, I put my actual letter in there so you can actually go read it. Feel free to take it and cut and paste it. But one of the things that I put in there was the bill's language, and this is what politicians do, is so vague and so subject to interpretation. And they do it a lot of times deliberately. Sometimes they do it because they're just idiots. But in this particular case, the language is regarding coercive control, whatever the hell that means, right? Because they don't spell that out. So let's give an example of that, right? So when you think of coercive control, it would be something like domineering someone and making them do something, right? That's generally what you would think. Not in this case. That is something. But under the provision here, a parent who simply has concerns or says, hey, can we take a step back and really look at, 8-year-old Johnny and whether this is what he really wants, that can be labeled as abusive, coercive control, which now involves CPS and all that, right? And they can take away your parental rights like that, simply because they want to. And you get no due process. None. Your kid's taken away from you. That's what this bill has in it. Now, again, subject to bad interpretation as I took it, right? And I sit there and I'm just watching this, and it basically flew through their house. There wasn't really any opposition at all.
Because everyone's so afraid of that one word, which is exactly why they phrased it that way, because everyone's afraid of
yes,
pissing off a tiny percent of the population, by the way. And look, you're allowed to live your life however you want. What you're not allowed to do is use your lifestyle to hide abuse, because we have a long, sad history in our as humans of doing that. The church has done it. Every single religion in the world has done it before. People in power and control have done it before. And I seem to recall a certain gentleman with a questionable mustache doing that not very far long ago, in far as human history is concerned, a blink in the eye. And we've already forgotten it.
Well, some people are just taking those tactics and using them, right? That's basically how they're pushing this bill through. And the sad part is, as I said in my letter, we as adults are responsible for our children. I consider them our most precious asset. I think most people do, right? You might not like the terminology, but they are the biggest asset. It is our job as adults to take care of children. I think we can all basically agree on that, right? And we as adults have decided that, a 12-year-old should not be able to get a tattoo.
Or drive.
Or
buy a pew-pew.
Or, the list goes on and on, right? But I use tattoo because tattoos are basically permanent. Yeah, you can get them lasered off, but they're permanent, okay? And reason I use that is because if we're going to get into gender affirmation and, going back to the younger case where she's looking to change biology, how's that? I'm trying to keep it within guidelines here because we can get taken down for talking about it, which is permanent, right? I've heard people say, well, if you give them puberty blockers, you can just stop taking them. No, it is a permanent change when you do that. You can take them off it, but what's been done is done. It affects people forever. And if you chop things off, again, I'm trying to keep it clean here. There ain't no coming back from that. Sorry, but we want to enable 8, 9, 10-year-olds to do that, but say, no, you can't get a tattoo. Lunacy to me. Lunacy. And tragic more than anything else that we've reached this point. I cannot believe that we as adults have reached this point. Once you turn 18, do whatever you want. I'll fully support you. I don't think I should have to pay for it. You should have to. But I don't care what you do. It's your body, your right. Do whatever you want. I do not care. I will support you 100%. But an 8-year-old, no, I'm drawing the line there. What's next? Are we going to say 8-year-olds should be able to consent to? Oh, wait. They are making that argument. I don't know. What do you guys think out in the comments? I see some comments coming in. We can't read some of them.
We can't read most of them.
And again, how sad is it that we can't even have a conversation about it? Lest we piss somebody off. I'm waiting. TikTok, we're on borrowed time on TikTok with this one. I already know it. Somebody's going to run out going, well, they're being blah, blah, blah. No, we're not. No, we're just want to have conversation. You want to jump in the comments and disagree with Lindsay and I, because I think we're on the same page. Go ahead. I'm more than willing to listen to you. Tell me why this is a good bill. I would love to hear a rational argument and leave all your wokeness out of it. Your turn. I'm going to shut up because I am on my horse today. Woo.
Technically, we're supposed to be open mic. So, guys, if you have anything we want to talk about that we actually can repeat on live YouTube, guys, Houston Duck Country. I'm looking at y'all, Steve. I'm looking at y'all.
Yeah, I just wanted to cover that. It was part of the A block, as I would call it in the media. We're coming out of the A block, going into the regular show. So just to put a bow on that. We can talk about it more if you guys want to, but go find it. Send a letter to the legislators. As I said, I posted it in my Men Need to Be Heard on YouTube in the community, Facebook on my page, Insta on my page, and Twitter on my page. All the data's there. All right. What do we got for? I haven't even looked at comments other than the ones I can't read.
Someone's asking if this is a Twitch thing. No, it's an actual. We can see TikTok comments. There's so many of them that we don't always get to them.
Well, Twitch is a separate thing, isn't it?
Yes, I thought so.
Yeah, we don't do Twitch. We there's only so many we can do.
Houston, it was supposed to be, but Dan hasn't finished his show, and I haven't had time to actually watch it yet because I have had chaos in my house.
Yeah, so what he asked, for those that didn't see his comment, is we were originally planning to talk about the show Adolescence, Netflix, and I have my video scripted. It is going to be a half hour or so long until I edit. At least hopefully I can cut it back a little bit. And I'm going to be releasing it hopefully Sunday is my plan. I got a little sidetracked making another video this past weekend with my good friend. I interviewed Mr. Snuggle Muffin, otherwise known as Muff, who is a cat who lives with his mom, his divorced mother, middle-aged mother. And he came on the show and we had quite the conversation. If you haven't checked that video out, go check it out. You might get a few laughs out of it. But yeah, we're going to definitely cover Adolescence next week. So Lindsay's hasn't had time to watch it yet. And my video will go up and we are going to dive in deep on it because I shredded it.
Steve,
what are you chuckling about?
Steve, damn it. I told you. We can't comment on your video, on your stupid comments on YouTube. Stop it.
Yeah. So, Country said he saw that video with Muff. Yeah, you know what? I was a little disappointed. That video bombed. I mean, I thought it would do really well.
Obviously, you didn't name the cat well enough. It should have been Mr. Darcy.
No, you got to watch the video to understand the name.
Fine.
Oh, you got it right in the first 2 minutes. I was actually disappointed. I put a ton of work into that. I mean, I put in probably 15 hours of work on that video and it did okay. Everybody who saw it loved it. They're not showing it to anybody. I mean, that's the problem. Like TikTok.
Well, that's how you know you hit the nail on the head because they buried it.
Everybody buried it. Like no, YouTube. I think I'm on YouTube's shit list all of a sudden because my video have dropped significantly. So if you haven't watched it, go watch it wherever platform you're on. It's very obvious to find the thumbnail is a kitty. I think you'll get a good laugh out of it. Everybody that's watched it has loved it. So.
Well, I will look at it tonight. I actually have free time tonight.
I sent it to a couple of my clients, which I don't send a lot of my videos to. They loved it. And they are not involved in anything we do. They're just people that I train. They loved it. So, and I'll be interviewing Grizzly Bear very shortly. He's going to talk about what it's been like dating women. And his experiences in the past year or so. And if I can get her to ever get to it.
Yes, I know. I'm the problem. You should be used to waiting on women by now, Dan. I'm the problem.
You know, I think it's weaponized incompetence.
That's exactly it. That's exactly what I'm doing.
Come on, that was good. You got to admit that one was good.
That was very good.
But yeah, Brittany will be back at some point. I'm just picking on you. You know that. So yeah, I got some other. Oh, I also am covering. You're going to like this one. I'm covering the Blue Origin space flight last week. I have a video coming out. You don't know about that?
My Wi-Fi has been off for 3 days.
Oh, Lindsay, you missed out. Katy Perry and Gail King.
When they went flying up in the giant dick. I mean,
they went up. Yeah,
It looks like one.
They went up in Jeff Bezos's Freudian thing there. Yeah. I don't want to give away my video. So that actually, I think that comes out tomorrow.
I do know about the giant penis in the sky. I mean,
yeah,
the rocket. I mean, the.
I had a lot of fun with that one too. I don't know what it is lately. I've been on a roll with the comedic ones, but because they're fun. But yeah. So anyway, all right, guys, what do you got to talk about?
Our YouTube comments are talking back and forth, guys. Someone ask a question. Any question will do. Who's going to take the bait first?
Good evening, Keith from England. Hello, Keith. Guys, just so for those of you trying to on TikTok, it's nothing against you. Please don't take it personally. We just don't, for reasons like we're barely hanging on TikTok as it is, and if you say the wrong thing, we're done. Quick shout out, since we're 30 minutes in. Give us the where is it? Where is it? Show us some love. Give us the likes, the hearts, and all that stuff. And for those of you on TikTok, every hat and mustache gifted gets a yeehaw from Lindsay. And thank you to Christian, Big, Nix, and Keith for the roses and hearts. Yeah, give us a love bomb right now. If you are on TikTok or anywhere, share this too, because the more people that watch, the more we can talk about various issues. And let us know what you want to talk about. We're opening it up for you. Dan Lindsay, have you ever watched videos on the Happy
Wife's School?
I watch every one of her videos. I have begged her to come on my podcast. She has never replied to me.
It's rude.
Karen, I think is her name, right?
I think so.
I have emailed her 3 or 4 times in the last 2 years. I've never gotten a single response. I would love to interview her. And I'll go on her show if she wants, but I don't. That's not really what she does. But
Country Born, why? Yes, Karen. Country Born says, "Why do you keep saying the old sticks and stones will break my bones, but words will never hurt me?" I don't actually say that because words do hurt, but sticks are also nice because you can beat people with them.
You're gonna get us in trouble. Stop advocating violence.
Only when they deserve it.
Not touching it.
I need a sign in my house that says we have had 0 days since a stick-related idiot incident.
Oh, I had a sign in my office for the longest time that said the beatings will continue until morale approves, and then I got in trouble with HR for it. I mean, it was up for years, like 5, 6, 7 years, whatever it was, and then so I knew who it was who reported me. It was a new person, right? So I mean, not that I got they just told me to take it down, but yeah. But I mean, it's like, come on, really, you know. Oh, okay. So, yeah, Steve did say it was Karen. Can't even talk about ducks on TikTok. That's
no, we
true.
Can't.
We got taken down. It was about a month ago, right? For talking about ducks. I was actually talking with a buddy of mine. Just yesterday, we went to lunch. And I was telling him how we got taken down on TikTok for talking about ducks. Clean. Nothing, no innuendos or anything. And they took us down.
Houston says the only problem with the Happy Wife School is she stated that if husbands disobey their wives, the wives get mad. And if husbands submit, the wives are repulsed. I mean, technically that's not wrong.
If the husbands disobey their wives,
the wives get mad.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
If the husbands submit, which means they do what the wife wants, the wives are repulsed.
Also, absolutely.
She's right.
She's right.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. I don't think that's a problem, Houston. I think that's just acknowledging reality.
Most women will sit there and say they want a lot, well, first of all, they don't know what they want because they're women. I'm giving the game away, guys.
Her name is Lindsay. That would be Squirrely Girl.
And I have seen women do this. They'll complain about, I don't like him anymore. He's not assertive. He used to be assertive and now he's not. And now he's just like, I broke him. I'm like, yeah, but 2 weeks ago you were complaining about he never listens to you. And now he's listening to you. And now you're upset that he's listening to you. Well, it's like, okay, you can't have it both ways.
but they think they can.
They
That's
think
the
they
problem.
can.
And they're told that they can. That's the real problem.
Is that they're told that they can, and they're told that you should want this, and then when they get it, they realize they don't want it.
Well, it's kind of like, they're telling all the young girls now, just focus on your career. You'll be so happy. And now some of them have been hearing that for 10, 20 years, and they're in their 30s and 40s and realizing that they're not happy. Their time has come and gone, if you will. Things have dried up, if you will, and it's too late to have a family. And now you're screwed. That's why I say they actually hurt women more than they do men with all that stuff. It's sad, really, but they want women to be out having careers, and somehow that's going to fulfill them. And I'm sure it does some, but you're seeing more and more women in the middle age, 30s, 40s. They're just miserable. In fact, the thing came out, I don't know if you saw it, quarter of women antidepressants now.
I believe it.
And that's prescribed ones. That's not counting all the ones.
That's not counting wine.
Self-medicating with boxed wine and Ambien, as I like to say, right? I mean, I don't say that to knock them or laugh about it. I think it's truly sad. Truly sad that that's the level it's. I mean, you think about it. I mean, it's what, 350 million people in the U.S., give or take. Half would be female, 175. Taking out younger girls, can we probably agree it's somewhere between 50 and 75 million women are on antidepressants? Somewhere, probably that high a number. Even on the lower end, 25 to 50. I mean, who knows where it is.
Still a lot.
That's a lot of people. And it's all funneling into big pharma. I mean, I find that just sad. It actually breaks my heart.
Well, women are telling other women, usually, okay, this is what I don't understand, is the miserable women are telling the younger women how to be miserable just like them.
Yeah, because
rather than tell them the truth that don't do what I did. That's what gets me, is a woman will say, I'm miserable, I wish I would have done all this, and then turn around and tell someone else, oh, you should do what I did. I'm like, but you just said you're miserable and that you shouldn't have done all that, and now you're giving advice to do exactly that. Is the brain rot really that, deep that you don't realize what you just said?
Oh, I think they realize what they're saying. I think that's their intention. They want those younger girls to be as miserable as they are, because they can't get out of it, right? Well, they know.
They also want to justify their choices, and then they hate women like me who didn't do that. I didn't spend my 20s partying. I didn't have a career first. I'm starting my career now with all of this stuff after my children are already getting ready to go into middle school. I've raised my kids. They're not done being raised, but the hard part is done. They're not.
Yeah, the first 5 to 7 years is the hardest part.
I stayed home with them. I got married at 19 to my first boyfriend. I have a body count of 1. I'm their worst nightmare. And they hate me for it, and they let me know that they hate me for it.
And that's the other thing, right? It's because I talk a lot now about that, and talk about how they desperately want to believe that men are just, struggling. We're all bitter and lonely, and there's, we can't find dates. They just have bought into that whole thing, and it's not true. Men have figured it out. I talk about it all the time. I see it by the tens of thousands in the comments on my videos. Guys are figuring out that they're a hell of a lot happier alone, which again is sad. I don't say that as a flex. That's tragic. But I get it, and I agree with it, right? Why would you want to get into a relationship with someone who's going to make you miserable, who thinks that you exist to provide for them? your whole life is based on making them happy, which you can never do. And, I've talked about it. We've talked about it on the show before. COVID was the game changer when they locked everybody in their homes and guys figured out, you know what? This ain't freaking bad.
This isn't bad.
This is not bad at all. And you're seeing it where, I was watching videos. I went down the rabbit hole of, because I want to do a video on it. Those speed dating things. And I actually want to go to one, not to find a date, but just to watch.
Just to people watch?
Because I've seen, I don't know, probably 30 of them now. Guys aren't going.
It's all women.
It's all women. Like the most they're getting is like 20% men. And the ones that are showing up, even I'll admit they're probably the ones that you wouldn't want to date. Okay. I'm just going to try and be nice about it. All right. Guys just aren't interested. They're done. And what little interest they do have is P&D, H&Q, and move on. And that's easy to get these days.
So Steve just said something that I actually have been saying for quite some time now. Karen that preaches this, and I have been saying this for years now, is that it is not your spouse's or your partner's job to make you happy. It is your job to make you happy, and then you go find someone to be happy with. Mm-hmm. Because if you surrender your happiness and over to someone else, you're always going to be miserable because they can't make you happy. That is a personal choice. I had to unlearn that, by the way, because I was raised off of Disney princesses and find your prince to make you happy. I got over it real quick though. By the time I was about 22, I'd figured that out.
Then you went and found your prince. I mean, you literally did.
I found my prince at 15. Thank you very much, in band camp.
We're not going to go there. But you literally proved it can happen. That's the funny part.
Yes, but the difference, and I will always caution people, they're like, oh, you have a fairy tale romance. No, I don't. I got lucky on the first try, but then I also chose to stay lucky, because there are plenty of times where we hit bumps in the roads or giant potholes that ended up being abysses that we could have broken up. I chose not to. And Eric, my husband, Mr. Squirrel, chose not to, because marriage is work. And whoever says this, that all you need is love, the Beatles, thank you very much, lied. It is a lie. The cake is a lie. You can't have it. It is a choice. Love is a choice. And I am aware that I am the anomaly. Mm-hmm. And that most high school sweethearts don't have the fairy tale. And I wouldn't necessarily even call it a fairy tale, because there are plenty of broken glass bottles and flat tires. And
but that's the thing, right? Is you've weathered the storms, because you're realistic about it. That's the difference, right? You know that there's going to be issues here and there. You knew, because his career was in the military, there's going to be times he was going to be gone for weeks on end. Wasn't his choice. It was his job, right? Knowing what I know about military families and how much divorce there is in them, these women marry into that. I don't know what they're expecting. You marry a guy, I'm not that far from, Fayetteville, where the 84th, well, now I think it's back to Bragg. Fort Bragg, where the 82nd Airborne is. Those guys get called up at the drop of a hat. The divorce rate in that division is off the charts, because I hear from those guys all the time, right? And I'm like, when did you meet your wife? Oh, after I was in the Corps, or I was in, in that case, Army, whatever, for whatever. So she knew you were in the military, yeah. And she's now upset that you got shipped over to Poland for 6 months. Yeah. What does she think is going to happen? Oh, sorry, Lieutenant. I can't go. My wife says, yeah, that'll work.
Yeah, that'll fly.
That would be hilarious to see. Actually, it'd be a nice video. We could,
I actually have a funny story about that. So I was pregnant with my second child, and my husband gets sent on a channel mission, Pacific, from here to Travis, California, to Hawaii, to Guam, to Japan, to South Korea, and all the way back. Well, their plane got stuck in Japan.
Oh,
And
poor
I was
thing.
getting very close to my scheduled C-section date. And so they're mid-flight. They're like, we're going to have to divert to Guam. We can't fly all the way home because we have an electrical issue. My flight engineer husband pulls out the big schematic, reroutes everything around. He goes, my wife is scheduled to go into labor, induced labor C-section in 3 days. I am going home, and this plane is coming with me.
Good for him.
He got home in time. He got home.
I'd say he made it happen,
He made
didn't
it
he?
46 hours before I was supposed to be at the hospital.
I admire that.
But they were dead tired. He came home. He didn't know what day he knew what day it was because he was trying to race the clock. But after the whole ordeal was done, I think he crashed harder than I did, and I was the one drugged up.
Yeah, well, you got the good drugs, right?
Yeah, I got the real good drugs.
Yeah, so they're talking over on TikTok about the male loneliness epidemic. There isn't one. That's a fictitious thing that women came up with.
It's women projecting their loneliness onto men.
Yes.
They think that because women are lonely, the men must be correspondingly equally lonely, and that's not how it works.
Yeah, and again, it's a spectrum, people. There are guys that are lonely. We're not saying there aren't. We're talking generalities here. The majority of men are anything but lonely. They are, and I see guys talking about they got more money than they ever thought they would have. You want to go buy a new Xbox, you don't have to answer to her because you did it and she wanted some stupid thing elsewise. You roll the towels instead of folding them. Who cares? You want to leave the seat up? That's fine too. You don't have to worry about, did you put the glass in the right way in the dishwasher or in the right spot? It's so much less stress. For peace. You're financially better off. Women better freaking figure this out, because the more guys that figure it out, the less chance they're coming back. And now they're like, I don't know if you saw this one because I know you've been busy. Now they want to pay women to have babies. They're so desperate.
Isn't that
one little problem with that? What about the men? Because if you ain't paying them, you ain't going to have no babies. That's the level it's reached. The politicians are in full-blown panic. 1.3 birth rate in the U.S. That's Japan level. Oh, here, we're going to give women $5,000 to have a kid. Yeah, that's going to work. Sorry. I got news for you. You can dream on all day long. I ain't going to do it.
Well, it'll work. They'll just pick the absolute lowest of the low who won't give them child support. And
yeah, they're already getting paid for child support anyway.
Because the smart men won't fall for it.
No, they won't. What'll happen is Chad will have 15 kids.
But Rebecca, who's his 8th baby mama, he'll change for me.
It's funny you say that. I heard of a woman locally that has 12 children, 8 different fathers, 35 years old.
So, that's younger than me.
She's your age. Yep.
Holy crap.
Basically been pregnant for 12 out of the last 15 years.
Okay, first of all, ow. But also, holy crap.
Mm-hmm. I may do a video on it. I haven't decided yet because somebody brought it to my attention. Because she's clearly living on the government. 12 children, 8 different fathers. Again, I don't want to judge someone, but I think by the 3rd or 4th one, you might have figured out you might need to use birth control.
Or that your decision-making, choice-making skills is horrible, kind of like Taylor Swift's. It just...
It's, I don't know that I'll do the video on it. I got to kind of think that one through because I don't want to be that person that slams her for it. But, it is an interesting topic in the sense that you think maybe you're either trying to get money from the government or, but I'll get canceled if I do. So, all right, guys, what else do you want to talk about? We're a little more than halfway through. Give us where is it? There it is. Give us some love, heart bomb time, like, shares, all that good stuff. Don't forget, because we haven't gotten one yet, Hat and Mustache gets a yeehaw from Lindsay. All right. I thought I saw another one pop in.
Well,
Your
Houston.
father number 3, who is spending time with her. Well, that's a good question. I actually have her contact info. To reach out to her. They gave it to me. I'm not sure I want to do that. Again, it could be taken the wrong way. And I don't want that. That's not my objective with it. Oh, you got one? You got a face on.
No, I've got Houston Duck, who says, Lindsay, you spelled my name right. Yay. I had a firsthand view of the Mrs. Fix-It as a child. My mom spent endless amounts of energy trying to fix my career criminal older brother. It's slightly different when it's a child, but at the same time, after a certain age, like if you screw up as a parent and your kid is kind of ruined as a result, you don't get to keep trying to retroactively fix it. Because after a certain point, their decisions are theirs. It doesn't really matter what happened before. And I always explain, I always use this, someone like, oh, well, my mother did this, and that's why I'm an perpetual asshole. Okay, you might have been able to explain your assholery when you were a child and blame your parents, but after the age of like 18 or 21, that's all on you, and you can choose not to be an asshole. I'm just throwing that out there.
Shocking, right?
Shocking, right?
Who'd think that we actually have our own free will and can make our own choices?
It's like generational trauma. I understand it is a thing in certain places where there's not the resources necessary to show you that there's another way. Like if it is truly a cultural phenomenon and everyone in the culture is like that, that's understandable. But here in the greatest melting pot, the biggest melting pot in the world, we have so many different examples of right and wrong that we don't have one homogenous culture. It's a little less acceptable.
No, it's fair points. I'm just reading Lucky Fox talking about Filipinos. They're crazy. You're right. I have a friend. Well, he used to be an employee and became a friend. And I've talked about it many times. He was a passport bro before there was such a thing. And he married a girl from the Philippines, and they are he and her husband. I'll even go that far. I mean, they're as pathetic with the walking and holding hands everywhere they go. But
he
Sean,
carried me for a bit.
Yeah, Sean, my buddy, is even happier. I mean, if there is such a thing. And in fact, because I'm friends with him on Facebook. I don't go on Facebook on my own account much anymore, but I just happened to pop on Easter. And he had posted they were on a trip somewhere. And it was just pathetic watching because they put pictures up and I was watching it. So anyway, Angel just said some women love arguments because some women love drama because some women love chaos. Yes. Well said.
It makes them feel relevant. They're not.
Explain that one to me, Lucy.
I can't. Although I was talking, okay, so we were going to Texas wine country the other day. And
Texas wine country.
Yes, it's a thing. We'll have to show you when you're here, or we'll have to show your wife when she's here.
Yeah, you can I care about wine.
No, but you can come around for all the snacks.
What, rattlesnake bites?
No, like Texas barbecue and brisket.
I could make brisket myself. Go on.
Yeah.
Mine's actually good.
Challenge accepted, sir.
You lose.
We'll see.
Go on with your story. Texas wine country.
We were driving through the Texas Hill Country to look at wildflowers and drink wine, and I was talking to my husband about how I bring him peace, and he looks at me and says, "I don't know, you're a little crazy." I go, "Yes, I'm crazy, but I don't make you crazy. I'm not argumentative. I'm not aggressive. You come home from work. I typically take your shoes off for you and tell you can watch TV for a little while and let you, decompress all that stuff. I don't fight with you just for the hell of it." He goes, "Okay, yeah. In that way, you give me peace in our relationship." He said, "But you are not peaceful." I go, "I didn't say I was peaceful. I said I bring you peace." There's a difference.
I mean, it's the same with my wife, right? She doesn't cause me stress. She's nuts, I mean, I call her the hurricane for a reason. Like Easter Sunday, she had dinner prepped by 9:30 in the morning, so that everything was done. I was still doing my crossword puzzle. I'm like, "Do you want me to help? Get out." Okay. I offered, right? All she had to do was put it in the oven when the time came. And, I call her the hurricane for a reason. But other than that, it doesn't cause me stress. I felt bad because she was working so hard, but I offered multiple times to help. And her response was, "Get out," every time. Okay. But generally, she brings me peace. It took me 3 tries to find one that did that. Although, to be fair, my second wife wasn't that bad. She was great, actually. We just weren't compatible. So, you can find a good one. There are good women out there. There really are. There's a lot more than you realize. Problem is sometimes you find the bad ones first and they just make it miserable.
I wouldn't know.
No, because but you're not one of them. Remember, yes, Dan, your wife is short, and so is the Tasmanian devil. I called her a rabid Wolverine one time.
But that's accurate because I was getting ready to say she reminds me more of a Wolverine.
But yeah, I paid for that one.
All the Wolverines are cute.
No,
with their little murder mittens.
She did not like that one. Oh. All 4'10" of her, although she'll claim she's 5'1". Yeah. So who are we talking about? TikTok host. She proposed to me on live. Wait a minute. Lucky Fox. Wait a minute. Whoa. I missed this one. She's actually a TikTok. She posted me on live stream twice now. Wow. I guess he's talking about his wife.
I guess.
Wow. I there's so many comments roll through. I missed a bunch of them. Guys, what else do you want to talk about? You guys in control. You guys been quiet today.
No, I know the Tasmanian devil. Too young.
Yeah, but the old school cat.
Yes, I'm familiar with that.
Duck season.
Rabbit season. Fire! You're despicable. And my 2 favorite episodes of Looney Tunes, maybe 3.
All right, let's have this discussion. Go ahead.
Is the singing sword.
I know that one. That's good.
And then I forget which one it is, but it's where Elmer Fudd is dressed up like an opera star and says, "Kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit, kill the wabbit."
That's actually my favorite one.
And then, but I love the singing sword because it's whoa, 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 dragon. When I say whoa, I mean idiot dragon. Yeah. So the other day I was playing Spyro on the Switch, and my children distracted me, and I fell off and I died. And I said, "You idiot dragon!" And my children did not know what that meant, and I was like, "Oh, I have failed as a parent."
Yeah, you need to show them Looney Tunes. So you're thinking of What's Opera, Doc, is the one you're thinking about. That's my favorite, hands down. My favorite. But they're tough to find, like the original ones that haven't been carved up and. I have them on DVD somewhere, but I don't have a DVD player anymore. Although I guess I have an Xbox. I guess I could use that. But, duck season, Steve. Rabbit season.
Yes, Steve. That is accurate because I've met her. I also can't remember I know it's Looney Tunes, but I can't remember the name of the episode where the baby duck or something is trying to, or no, the baby something is saving the baby ducks from the vulture.
I don't remember off the top of my head. It'll come to me. Give me a minute. Yeah, while you lucky, just went where I went. Wile E. Coyote and Roadrunner. Oh God, I could watch them all day long.
Which my entire childhood was a lie. Because do you want to know why? A Roadrunner's max speed is 15 miles an hour. A Coyote's max speed is 30. It was all a lie.
All right, we're in trouble on TikTok. Wait a minute. Which of these? It wants me to hold on.
What did we do?
Oh, I got to do some silly little thing there. All right, we're good. Steve mentioned One Froggy Evening. That's another good one.
Sahara Hair is another one. That's Idjit Camel. Not as funny as Idjit Dragon, but Idjit Camel.
Yeah. There's so many. See, when I grew up way back when, in the 1970s, they didn't have news on in the morning. So from 7 to 7:45 every morning, because I left for school at 8:15, from 7 to 7:45 was Looney Tunes. So they just replayed different ones all the time. So that's what I grew up with. And then at 7:45 to 8, there was a guy called Commander Ralph. It was a 15-minute show. It's kind of like a news show for kids. And actually I ended up meeting the guy many years later. He's a really nice guy. But his whole career was a 15-minute show. And that was it. He made a living on that for like 20 years, you know. But that, yeah, there was no news back then. So Looney Tunes, I grew up watching Looney Tunes for years. And it's tough finding them though. Like Netflix, I don't think has them. There are some out on YouTube, but you get mixed in the newer one. I hate the newer ones. The newer ones
are horrible. I found them on YouTube in like long lists, and they disappear all the time. So you have to go back and find them.
Well, yeah, because it's copyrighted, right? But they'll have one of the good ones in with 5 sucky ones. And I ain't got time to sit and watch them all, you know. Everybody's talking about their Saturday morning favorite ones. Hong Kong Phooey. Oh, hell yeah. Sigmund and the Sea Monsters. A lot of cocaine in the writer's room on that one, let me tell you. Pink Panther. Yep. You guys are bringing back memories now. Back when, you ate an entire box of Fruity Pebbles on a Saturday morning to get your sugar high from 7 in the morning until noon. Fraggle Rock. No, that's old school. That's old.
But look who it is. It's Genie of all trades.
I know. Jen of all trades.
Jen of trades, sorry.
She's not both. I saw her over on TikTok. Captain Caveman. Yep. Pinky in the Brain.
Johnny Quest. Yeah. I watched. They're
all coming out now. Grape Ape. There we go. Now that we're having fun with this, let's just roll with it.
Of course, my favorite was Gargoyles. Who else remembers Gargoyles, or is it just me?
I remember it because my kids watched it. Let me guess, you watched Barney too.
No, I did not. Someone stole your name. How dare they?
Or as my daughter calls it, Dora B, as in boy explorer, not Dora the Explorer. She always called it Dora B Explorer for years. She was addicted to that show when she was a kid. Oh, Jen just said, nobody calls me Jenny. Don't know how that happened. Well, we do. Sorry. Oh, somebody stole your name on YouTube. I see that now.
Now, see, Speedy Gonzalez is okay. So I live in a part of the world where what?
Speedy Gonzalez was canceled.
Yes, I know, which was horrible because they said it was cultural appropriation. But he was everyone's favorite Mexican mouse, and I live in the part of the world where there are more Mexicans than anyone else, more Hispanics than anyone else. And one of my friends up the street, his name is also Eric, but he's short. He's about my height, which compared to my husband is short. And so when he calls me, Speedy Gonzalez pops up because he's a short, like small Mexican.
You should have his ringtone be andale, andale. So I learned the little bit of Spanish I know. I learned from Speedy Gonzalez. How about Schoolhouse Rock, man? They should bring that back. They might actually they should show that in schools now and actually teach kids how bills get made because teachers ain't doing that. Transformers and GoBots. You guys are young. Good Lord. Those are like G.I. Joe in the 80s. You guys talk about the ones my kids watched. What was that? Your account is considered for advertising, meaning they're debating using your trading name. Huh? You guys, lucky you're guy. I'm not following you. I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about so I can reply to you, dude.
the only
Slowpoke Rodriguez. There's one. I remember that one too. But yeah, that's boy, you guys brought back memories. Now I got to talk about Brady Bunch. Marsha. I
used to watch all of the reruns on Boomerang. I loved Little House on the Prairie, and I loved and I loved the Beverly Hillbillies, and I can still sing the entire theme song. I like the black and white ones though better than the colored ones. And then I Dream of Jeannie I watched.
The bad part, Lindsay, is you were watching the reruns. I actually watched them when they first aired. That's the sad part. I remember watching Batman when it was, it was all the rage for a couple of years. And I was like
Holy,
5 years old.
holy rusted metal, Batman.
It was on, I think it was Thursday night and Friday night. It was on 2 separate nights, back to back. So, that's why they always had the cliffhanger. Yeah, I remember that. Bewitched. You guys are just Alf. Oh, no, that's 80s, dude.
Yeah, it's 80s.
All in the Family. Now, that was a show. That was controversial as hell when it came out. My father.
Gilligan's Island, yes.
All right, Gilligan's Island, Mary Ann or Ginger. Let's hear it.
Ginger.
Mary Ann, dude, no. Come on.
Why are you asking me? I am female.
Well, you're the one who offered up an answer. I was asking the audience.
Well, I thought
Ginger,
I'd chime in.
Why Ginger?
I don't know. I was envious of her assets.
Mary Ann had assets too,
Scooby-Doo before it got weird. Yes. Like the older Scooby-Doo. The Addams Family, the original black and white. Fun fact about the Addams Family.
Yeah, we went completely off the track now. Let's run with it, though. Married with children. Oh, you guys are throwing them all out. Scooby-Doo was good. Mary Ann every day. That's right, Steve. Us Sigma's got a student. They got Mary Ann all day, every day.
Fun fact about the original Addams Family, the black and white. In order to get all those shades of gray, this set was pink.
I knew that one, actually.
Or pink and shades of reds. And then if you look at they did some colorized photographs of movie stars and the makeup they had to wear to look good on the black and white film roll. All you see is those lovely shadows. And then you see a colorized photo. They're wearing green blush, like blue eyeshadow, because that's what showed up on the exposure.
So Steve said, seriously, do we have to mention the Brady Bunch? Yes, we do. Marsha, baby. My first love and still my only true love, probably. And she is 68 years old and still drop dead gorgeous. Just saying.
Jeannie says, I'm more of a Dukes of Hazzard kind. I didn't really watch Dukes of Hazzard. Now, the movie Smokey and the Bandit, that was fun.
That was a good movie. I remember seeing that in the theater. Dukes of Hazzard, I was never into. I know why you liked it, but have you seen her recently? Just saying. The Wall, undefeated, unfortunately. WKRP. Oh, yeah. Bailey, all day, every day. Not Lonnie, Bailey. See, that's the thing.
I don't know what you're talking about with that one.
You have never seen WKRP in Cincinnati.
No.
Okay. Get a pen. I want you to write this down. I'm going to give you the funniest scene that's ever happened on TV. Okay? I remember watching it live to this day. So WKRP in Cincinnati, you want to find the Thanksgiving episode. So I'm sure you'll find that one. I mean, that whole show is hilarious. You should watch that show front to back, but just look up Thanksgiving episode. I don't want to give anything away don't anybody tip her off either. Okay. You will die laughing. I remember when they showed that one live. It was like 1977 or 8. I think it was 8, somewhere in there. And for 10 minutes, doubled over laughing. Like it hurt. We were laughing so hard. The whole family just lost it. Because, back then, you had 3 channels. There was no cable. 2 of them were black and white. So that's your homework assignment. And have your hubby watch it too, because if he hasn't seen it, it's worth it. So, that whole WKRP in Cincinnati is an all-time classic. Steve, Steve agrees with me. Jan Smithers, yep. That's Bailey.
You are allowed to have all the opinions on women you like. I'm not a dyke anymore.
Doesn't mean you can't have a preference for one or another. What's wrong with that? Doesn't make you any of the things.
joking with the
Like I can look at Brad Pitt circa 1998 and say, yeah, he's a good-looking guy.
Yes, but did you know why that what I just said was funny, that I'm not a dyke anymore?
No, I was ignoring it because you're going to get us in trouble. Go ahead.
It was my maiden name, y'all. High school was not fun for me.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I do remember. Now that you mentioned that, I forgot about that. Really, Duck? Really? I can't say what he just said. Anyway, you know what? Let's do another love bomb just to kind of get out of this. Oh, we got to snort. Yay, we got to snort. All right. By the way, for all of you sending gifts, Lucky, Kristen, all them, thank you. Show us a love. Give us a like. Give us a share. Tell us your favorite show growing up, because that's kind of fun to do. Days of Our Lives. Angel, really?
My mother watched that. I did not.
I was going to say the same thing. That's like my grandmother watched that show. Dude, are you older than me? I didn't think you were. I thought you were younger than me. Days of Our Lives. Is that still going?
I have no idea.
I have no idea either. See, the big one for my generation was General Hospital. Luke and Laura getting married, which I know you have no idea what that is. We just got flagged for hate speech. Thanks, Lindsay.
I'm sorry.
Your maiden name. Hello, TikTok censors. Hello. That's her maiden name. That's why she used the word. I just can't. I mean, I just can't. How is that hate speech using your maiden name?
Apparently.
I truly hate TikTok now. I truly do. It is the most god-awful company there is. I hope they're watching right now. All right, I want to be nice. I'm going to calm down. Serenity now. Oh, wait, I just violated copyright with Seinfeld. All right, Mork and Mindy, there's another good one. Oh, wait, is TikTok upset because we're talking about old TV shows? They didn't like ducks and now TV shows? No, I know what it was. It was Lindsay.
Yes, I'm the problem. It's me.
See, Steve and I are like compadres. He mentioned Jeannie Francis. Yeah, we were talking about General Hospital when we got flagged. So, there was this huge thing. I was in high school, so I think it was 81. Luke and Laura were getting married. And it was like the whole world stopped at like 3 o'clock on a Friday. I don't know what exact day or time. And I was dating a girl at the time. And I remember we got out of school at 2:45, her racing home to watch this wedding. And I'm like, gives craps. It was all the rage. So anyway, Lindsay's like, what the hell are you talking about, Dan?
I've heard of General Hospital. I just haven't watched it.
Nor should you. Who shot JR? See, now all my age groups coming out. The boomers are speaking. Now we'll get flagged for using that term probably. I'm still like, hate speech. Really? Hey, TikTok censors, come on. Grow the F up already. I know you're 20 years old with a degree in women's studies, and this is your $10 an hour job. But
no, women's studies is a respectable degree, Dan. It's underwater basket weaving. That's the one they're doing now. I shit you not. It is in a catalog for a little community college in Oregon. It's underwater basket weaving. I'm like, that's a degree? How could that possibly be useful? Well,
my wife's degree is in recreational therapy, gym. That's basically what her degree is in. She got an advanced degree in recreational therapy.
That's not what I would consider. That's not what I would consider recreational therapy.
We're already on the shit list as it is. Careful, girl. Careful. Oh, wait. Houston just said, did you see where they divided the boomer generation into two groups? I have not. Do enlighten us. This ought to be good.
I'm considered an elder millennial.
It's okay to rag on boomers. So, TikTok will be okay with that. Can't talk about ducks. Can't talk about old TV shows.
Let's talk about ducks.
Can't talk about things that hold back water that the Dutch use.
Apparently not.
No.
We can
Amanda
talk.
Page. Wow. Go ahead.
I wasn't going to say anything. We could call them levies.
When the levee breaks. Great song, by the way. Oh, great question. Angel wants to know if I'm old enough to remember the moon landing. Yes, I am. I do remember it. In fact, it happened like 2 days before my baby sister was born. And I remember watching it on a black and white TV because that's all we had, which was about yay big. And my mother bitching and moaning about how she felt like crap because it was summertime and they didn't have AC back then. But yeah, I remember it vividly. It's one of those things, kind of like 9/11, you know where you were when that happened too, right? I remember that vividly. And Lucky, do not give it away. Because you're right. It's one of those things that it's kind of a fond memory, right? Because you think about it. And then I remember a few years later when they were driving the vehicle around on the moon and how cool that was. I was like 9 at the time or 8, whatever it was. Probably 71, 72. I remember that too. Vividly. So yeah, good memories there, you guys.
Country Born is a younger millennial. I would not have guessed that based on your commentary at all.
No.
I'm
still waiting. Did we get the boomer answer yet? Bye, Maggie. She said she's got to go.
Bye, Maggie.
I'm waiting for what's the 2 boomer thing because I'm curious as hell about that. Yep. Houston said right. Sunday in July, watched it live. Yep. My sister was born a couple days later after that. I remember when they took off too, because that was huge news back then, right? It was all over everything. I'm the space race again. I was 5, 6. Well, I was 6 at the time of the moon landing, but the space race, as a kid, that was a major thing. And it was, when they showed everything. It was kind of like when the shuttles started going up in the 80s. They showed all the initial ones until unfortunately one blew up. All right, here we go. We got Lindsay. You should watch Foamy the Squirrel on YouTube.
Do you know how many things I've been sent that have to do with squirrels? I've been sent inappropriate videos to do with squirrels. I've been sent squirrel nuts.
Not by me. Disclaimer, I have done none of that. She's like my daughter. I couldn't do that. No.
I have been sent pictures of men in squirrel costume.
I'm going to have to get one.
Please don't.
Why?
Unless it's of like a full.
Come on the show live with it.
I suppose
you could do that. Like I interviewed Muff. You could interview me as a squirrel.
I could.
That could be fun.
That could be fun.
Now they want to know first concert. Soundgarden opening for Guns N' Roses 91. Mark said that's a pretty damn good concert.
My first in-person concert or the first one that my mother ever told me about? Because technically my mother went to one with my dad when she was 9.5, almost due with me. And she said that I did not stop moving the entire time I was dancing. And that was Billy Joel and Elton John in Houston.
Oh, I saw them many times. My first, I got to think about this. Because it's one of 2. I am pretty sure it was John Denver was first. Because they were like back to back. Like, one weekend and the next. And then the Carpenters.
I didn't go to concerts. My first concert wasn't until I was an adult.
Well, I was dragged along by my mother. I saw Elvis. Oh, yay. I got to see Perry Como at one time. And Engelbert Humperdinck. Those were all around that time. Yeah, my mother used to drag me to concerts. So
I didn't go see my first concert until I was an adult. And that was Toby Keith.
When I started going to concerts on my own at like 12, 13. The first rock concert that I went to that I wanted to see was the Doobie Brothers. And I've seen the Doobie Brothers probably 10, 12 times. I just saw Country Just Said I got to see Elton John. I've seen Elton John 20 something times, Pearl Jam in the 30s. But you know what? I'll probably never go to a concert again. I refuse to pay anymore. Like Pearl Jam, like I said, I've seen Pearl Jam. I've chased them around the country. They're playing Raleigh, which is 2 hours from me, in a couple of weeks. Now, I'm still in their fan club. I have first dibs on seats, so I can get great seats. I saw the prices and went, yeah, dream on. Not a chance. $200 for a ticket. I'm not paying it. I'm not paying.
Here, yeah, even for the cheap nosebleed seats, it's $100 and something dollars.
I won't pay it. It's last concert we saw. It's the only concert we've seen since we moved here. We saw REO Speedwagon, and the only reason I went was I got the tickets for free. They got handed to me. Prior to that, the last concert we saw was Genesis on their final tour. And that will probably be it. That'll probably be the last concert I'll go to. I just will not pay the prices. Like locally, the theaters around here that have smaller type stuff. There's a tribute show for Queen. Back in the day, I'd have been all over it. $135 a seat. It's a tribute band.
I have, however, been to a surprise impromptu concert twice. I was in Luckenbach, Texas once, and a tour bus came through of, I forget who, some new country star. They stopped. They weren't supposed to stop. We weren't planning to be there. But my favorite in the right place at the right time is Willie Nelson comes to Flora's Country Store on Fly. Well, we were there one night with friends, and here he comes, and not in a tour bus. I think he drove up just himself. That was cool.
Wow.
But I wouldn't consider that as the same as going to a concert because we didn't plan to go. We just happened to be there when someone came by.
Yeah, I mean, where I lived in Saratoga, New York, so we had SPAC, and bands would come in August because the track was open. That was a big deal. And you'd see people downtown. Like Dave Matthews used to walk around downtown all the time. I'm not a fan of his, but I don't know him. I never really met him. I was within 6 feet of him many times, but very nice guy. But I was actually sharing the story on my YouTube channel the other day in the comments. So, back in the early 2000s, Trey Anastasio from Fish used to work out in the Saratoga Y. So I was a trainer. He would come in, him and his wife, because he had gotten into serious legal trouble where he couldn't drive anymore. So his wife, and I want to say her name was Sue or Susan or something like that. She used to bring him in. He had these like ridiculously expensive wooden headphones. And he would get on the elliptical or treadmill and do his thing for an hour. And she was a chatty Cathy. Like, she'd talk your ear off. Wonderful woman. Nice as could be. But I always wanted to talk to him because I was a musician also. But he was not rude, but he was very standoffish. And I can understand that, right? He would, like, if you waved at him, he'd wave back. If you said hi, he would say hi. But you knew you didn't want to talk. He didn't want anybody talking to him. And I respected that. But yeah, that was cool.
Apparently, Country Born just found the Easter Bunny dead in his backyard.
Hasenpfeffer, baby. Just saying, Hasenpfeffer's delicious. All right, we got about 5 minutes. Let's do a real quick love bomb. Show some love. Give us the likes. Give us all that crap. Except for TikTok, screw TikTok at this point.
Not guys, the people on TikTok. We love y'all. It's the app.
We love you, but we hate TikTok. And I'm going to tell you right now, you better follow us over on the other ones because it's not if, but when we're going to lose TikTok. It's coming.
Yes, Houston, you did tell us it was rabbit season. I thought it was duck season. Fire.
Now you're promoting violence, and they'll take us down for that.
Well, I'm already the problem. We've got 5 minutes left. I might as well lean into it.
Remember, about 3 weeks ago, they took us down with 3 minutes left or something like that. It's just mind-blowing, So, yeah, make sure you follow us on, where are we, Facebook? I can't even think
Facebook, YouTube, yours channel's up on X. Yes, Jeannie, you left, and we went off the rails, as we are wanting. Okay. Yeah. That's okay. It's fun over here.
All the time. I mean, it's just we're gonna get serious next week with
yes,
the conversation, but and we're gonna get some guests lined up, and we're gonna have a producer shortly. I don't know if our producer to be is still on. Say hi, Curtis, if you are. So which will make things even crazier. Probably get us banned even sooner.
No, we don't need no stinking rails. Badgers.
No stinking rails. Yeah. But yeah, really, it's a fun show. It's kind of a little goofy one, right?
This was fun.
Yeah, I love these. Oh, wait. One final question we got answered. Dan, Lindsay, do you remember the first words you said to your wife, husband when you first met them? Lindsay first.
I like your tuba.
I don't remember the first words, but I remember my first thought. And it was, damn, she's got a great ass. But I remember she wore quick story. We met on Match.com. She reached out to me. She denies it to this day. We met at a Dunkin' Donuts for coffee. See, I practiced what I preached even in 2011. We met at 7 a.m. We had coffee. She was dressed in a skin-tight blue dress for work. I had driven my motorcycle down. And she was the first to lean in also. If she ever watches this, she's going to kill me. So yeah, that was I don't remember the first words, but that was my first thought. Because she walked in. I had gotten my coffee. I was sitting at the table. And she walked in and she walked by me because she didn't know I was sitting there yet. And that was my first thought.
I have no idea what Mr. Squirrel's first thought.
Probably the same. I don't know.
Probably.
Ask him. Who knows?
He'll tell me he doesn't remember that he slept since then.
All right. Tell everybody how they can follow you, Lindsay.
I am Squirrel Girl 1988 on everything except Facebook. On Facebook, I'm just Squirrel Girl. But on YouTube and TikTok, although to be fair, I have not been on TikTok in many moons.
Gee, I wonder why.
I wonder why. I do occasionally check messages, guys, on TikTok, but I've tried to upload a couple videos. They won't go up. I'm on somebody's shit list.
Try it by
shocking. Oh. After 4 hours, that's a problem.
All right, wrap it up. Say goodbye, Lindsay.